Well, hello there and welcome. I'm Peggy, and so glad to be able to share a little time with you today. And one of my favorite people is here in the studio, Dr. Rhoades, and he is a family therapist. But what I love about Dr. Rhoades is when he talks to you, he makes sense in such a way that it's easy for us to grasp and be able to interpret what he's trying to help us to understand. And today I said to Dr. Rhoades, what do you want to talk about? And he said, let's talk about bullying. Well, when you think about bullying, you think about kids in school. Right?
Exactly.
Right, Dr. Rhoades?
That's really where it starts and where it's the most prevalent.
All right, in your
school.
Opinion, as an expert,
right.
What is bullying? What is it?
Well, I think bullying is when you have one group pressuring another group to get their way and willing to use physical force or emotional force, to use threats or getting hurt physically to get their way. And when that environment happens, that's an environment of bullying. And so you see that a lot, especially when kids get into competitive sports, there's an element of bullying. When people get into cheerleading, there can be an element of bullying or pep club, or even, the math club. If you have one group that we're the group in power and somebody comes in and wants to be part of that, then that group in power may use bullying techniques or a bullying style to keep that other child at bay and not part of the group. Kind of ostracize them.
So what are some of the signs? I'm thinking of parents and who have children in school.
Right.
And what are some of the, and many times if children are troubled about something, they don't come home and tell you.
Right.
Many of them do, but a lot of them do not.
A lot of them don't. And you're really getting at the heart of bullying young children and parents. It starts with the communication style between the parent and the child. What kind of relationship do we have as a parent and child? Is it an open relationship? Are we willing to talk about stuff? One of the things that I like parents do now is, and I think it's held over from the old days, where a child comes in and the first thing they ask is, tell me about your day. Yeah. They don't say, was there any problem? Do you have any problems? Are there any bad kids? No. Tell me about your day. And they genuinely have an interest in it. And the child is very intuitive. They know it. They know if a parent's interested. So once I develop that type of relationship with my child, if bullying begins to happen, the child may not see it as bullying, but I might. Because I've had this open communication with them. I've asked them about their day, and all of a sudden I'm noticing, well, that child is not acting proper. That child is not dealing with my child fairly, or the system that my child is in is not handling it. That's when I get involved. And when I do that, the child looks for a parent to defend them. Mm-hmm. But so much of the time, parents are so busy doing this, they don't have the time to ask. And like you said before, a child doesn't just come in and say, well, somebody's bullying me. No, because they're shameful about it. And and many times believe they've brought the bullying on themselves, that something's wrong with them, and that's why they're being bullied. And so they don't want to bring that out and get more shamed by bringing it out to their parents. But if their parents have a good relationship with them and have a regular conversation with them, they're going to pick up on it, and they're able to then draw out and say, well, tell me more about this. Tell me more, what's going on there? And if a parent suspects, don't guess. Get your hiney in a car, drive down to the school, and eyeball it. That's the best way to handle it. Because many times the bullying is done in secret. They don't want people to know about it. So when a parent shows up and adults there and adults questioning and watching, all of a sudden things can be very different, and you can stop it and nip it in the bud. It's easier to stop in the early stages than if it's full-blown going bad. And in this day and age, you know, with the internet and the phones and stuff like that, we're seeing a lot of children that are bullied to the level their parents are busy somewhere, and that child ends up killing themselves because the bullying is so severe, the pressure is so bad, they feel so inferior that they're looking for relief. And so if I have to end my life to get relief, then I end my life.
So that tragically we read about, like with teenagers.
Yes,
it will happen more with teenagers, I think.
And that I guess that's part of what we talk about this show, is we would all like to believe that it is part of the educational system. So as long as you're in high school, you'll have bullying. As long as you're in college, you'll have bullying. And what I'm saying, one of the things I've noticed as a therapist is that I've talked to many adults, young adults, who are still being bullied, who go to work and there's a bullying environment there. They get married to a bully, and so they're bullied in the marriage. And they feel lost. They don't feel like there's any relief, that anybody cares, and something's wrong with them because they're being bullied as an adult. And the one thing you'll hear them say is, well, I guess I'm too sensitive. Mm-hmm. And that's what's happening. When in fact, it's important for you to have boundaries. It's important for you to take up for yourself. And it's very, very important for you to be around people who love and support you. You know, that's one of the things that happen in adult bullying I want to share with people. One of the things that adult bullies do is they separate people. Is if you're with a loving family and a kind family and a lot of friends, well, all of a sudden we got to move. And if we lived in this small town, you know, then we're going to move 1,000 miles away to some other town so I can isolate you. See, once I isolate you and I'm your only friend, then that could be an area in which I put on pressure and I bully you. And now you've got to make it, and it might be something as simple as, you're not making meatballs this way. This is how we eat meatballs. If you want to make meatballs for me, you make it this way. See, that's a form of bullying.
In other words, the person who's doing the bullying always has to have his own way.
Right. They're very spoiled. And they feel entitled. That I have the right. This is the way I'm going to do it. This is what you ought to do. And they do not respond well to reasoning, because lots of times they feel, well, let's kind of be the happy medium. Let's work together as a team or a partnership, you know, because that's what I thought marriage was. And they find out, oh no, that's not the way marriage is. Marriage is, I do it my way. If you're married to me, you're going to do it my way. You're going to cook the way I want to. You're going to clean the way I want to. You're going to wear what I want to. You're going to be at the weight I want you to be in. And I will do what it takes to pressure you to do that.
Well, this is a controlling situation.
Without a doubt. And we want to believe the only time that controlling situation happens is in school, Peggy, when we're young. And what I'm saying is, oh no, it happens to many young adults, older adults have been, and it's been kind of undercover for years. But I think more and more we're seeing people come out and say, I was bullied. This person bullied me. And a lot of times when you get in the middle of divorce cases, you see where one spouse was bullying the other one and was expecting an unreasonable relationship and was willing to even physically harm them if they didn't do that way that other spouse wanted them to do. So it could get out of hand very quickly.
All right, now let's back up to children.
Right.
In school, How does a parent, what do you look for? Because your child is not going to open the door after school and say, oh, Mom, I was bullied today.
Right.
It just doesn't happen that way.
Right. One of the things you want to look at.
So what does a parent look for? That's what I'm.
Yes,
yeah.
and what I want to say, Peggy, is they look for the ease of the child's involvement. You know, if you want them to be involved in this, or you do want to be involved in that, or you want them to even go to school or play football or whatever, you want to look at their ease in doing that. Oh, I can't wait to go play football. See, when there's no bullying, a child is very excited. Yeah, I want to go be part of that club. But if all of a sudden you're talking to that child and you notice they're reluctant, you know, they're making excuses. Oh, I hurt my knee. My tummy hurts. I don't know that I won't be able to make it. And they start missing things. That should be a red flag. You should say, well, why is this happening?
So keep that communication open.
Oh, without
with your
a doubt.
child.
And again, watch the nature, the vibe. How willing is the child to be involved in the activity? A child that is bullied is reluctant to get in that environment. They realize, oh, wait a minute, I don't want to go there because if I go there, somebody's going to bully me, psychologically bully me or physically bully me, and so I'm going to have a reluctance to that. And parents need to be sensitive to that. If I'm not noticing my child being reluctant, then I need to check on it. Does it mean it's always bullying? No. Sometimes child's just lazy. Mm-hmm. Doesn't want to be involved.
But the parent has to be responsible enough to check it out.
Without a doubt. And again, a child's looking for that. Even if there's no bullying, but a parent steps up and checks it out, then that's going to make the child so much stronger, Peggy. Because they're going to know, man, my parents, who are supposed to be my protectors, were concerned about me. And a lot of times you talk to children and you say, well, are your parents concerned about you? No. They don't know where I am. They don't know who I talk to. They're just a bother. And so they blow their parents completely off, which in many cases the parent's happy to be blown off because they're busy trying to make $1 and make a car payment and do this and do that. So if I don't have to worry about the child, and the child learns very quickly, things go better if I don't make any waves. No matter how bad my life is, I smile and go, things are wonderful. But an involved parent picks up on that reluctance, picks up on that negativity. Doesn't have to ask about it. They got a vibe. Oh, this doesn't feel. And I really want to encourage parents out there, and with themselves and with their kids. If something feels funny, it's probably funny. That's not in your head. That's probably really happening, and you need to get around a support system. And also, like I said before, look and see how many close friends you have. If you've moved away from your family, how many close friends do you have? And I do not see people who have a lot of close friends in college and hearing there's a lot of bullying. There's not. That having those close friends around really is a shield for them. Having your family around can be a real shield for you. But what happens is they get married, they go off and have a life, they don't have any friends. They're all, and I hear people say, well, all we do is hang around with his friends, or all we hang around is her friends. That's the beginning of a form of bullying. We need to have our friends around our relationship who support us as a couple. See, that psychologically is supportive and helpful. And then you have people who I don't directly have to say, I support your marriage. You just know they do. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing I've noticed, Peggy. Divorced people, if you look at them when they were married, who did they hang with? Other divorced people. Birds of a feather flock together. Okay. And but you have to look at, who am I running with? Who do I spend time with? Who do I let into my life? And I'm also encouraging people out there to let people into your life, to make friends, no matter what age you are. You know, and that's also something funny I've noticed too as a therapist is people get divorced, and let's say a woman gets divorced from a man, she's got like one friend. Within a year, she's got 50. She just got, friends and friends and friends and friends and friends. I'm like, wait a minute, when you were married, you only had one friend, now you got 50. And they say, well, I feel free to be able to connect up, to let people know what I'm doing. And then they're happier with that because I feel like there's people in my life.
We've got to go to a quick break, so stay with us.